Hi everybody, Leslie, the Journeying Ginger here, and today I want to share with you my 9 easy steps for exploring any destination. Now, I'm a traveler at heart. I'm sure you've gathered that by now, and I love to explore, and sometimes this can be very overwhelming for many people because you get to a new destination, maybe you don't speak the language, you don't recognize the streets, and suddenly you get what's called culture shock, and you're scared, you're nervous, you maybe thought you were super excited to get out and explore, and now suddenly you're a little terrified. That's okay. I'm going to give to you my 9 easy steps that I've used in the past for overcoming these anxieties and getting out and really making the most of my exploration and my adventure. So here we go, Journeying Ginger's 9 easy steps for exploring any destination. My very first step is to be adventurous. Now, just like I said, many people get to new destinations and they're nervous. They don't speak the language, they don't recognize the streets. My recommendation to you is simple. When you wake up in the morning at your new hotel, walk right out the door and right up the street. Go to a cafe that you've never been to before, or have lunch at a restaurant whose name you can't pronounce. When you leave the cafe, buy a gift at the gift shop for your friends and family back home. And on the way home, pick up a soda bottle at the local gas station. These are all great ways to not only interact with the people around you, but get to know the city that you're in, and you get to learn the monetary system. You get to talk to the locals. Great ways to get out and start making the most of your vacation or your trip. My second tip is to learn the language. Now, I am absolutely not saying that you have to learn the entire language before you go visit a place. This isn't true. But what I am recommending is that you learn about 6 to 10 phrases that you can use as soon as you get to your new destination. A couple years ago, I took a trip to Japan as an exchange student, and when I arrived, I didn't speak much Japanese. In fact, I only spoke those 6 to 10 phrases, and they were pretty basic. Hello, how are you? Goodbye, thank you. Where's the bathroom? May I go to bed? That was actually a big one for me because I was staying with a host family. And may I have a glass of water? May I eat something? So very basic need phrases, but they're a great way to break the ice and show people that you're receptive to receiving their culture and embracing it, and you're not imposing your own culture on them. That's not why we travel. So step 2, learn some of the language. Step 3 is to keep a journal. Now, this was recommended to me when I traveled overseas the very first time, and I've used it ever since. It's a great way to keep on track of all the awesome events that you have, all the awesome experiences that you have, but also a good way to keep on track of the bad ones that you have. And we don't do this so we can always remember the bad things, but we do this so we remember not to do them again, or we can laugh about them later when we get home. Share them with our friends and family, say, this was the experience I had, this was the outcome. It wasn't funny then, but now it is. I had it was traumatic for me. I don't like cockroaches, but I had a bad experience when I was staying with my host family where there was a big old cockroach in the house, and I didn't know the word for cockroach. So I ran to the other side of the house, and I went and got my host brother, and I was like, there's a cockroach in the house! There's a cockroach in the house! And I drug him over there to take care of it. Not a good experience, but something that I wrote down in my journal and something that I laugh about to this day. My next tip is to talk to the locals. Now, a lot of the times we get to those new destinations and we don't speak the language, but that's okay. You are absolutely able to ask anybody if they speak your language. And if you just say hello, they're going to recognize that you have an accent. That's okay. Everybody has an accent, and it's beautiful. Your accent is beautiful. Don't ever forget that. But say hello and start talking to them. Some of the best stories that I've ever heard from travelers come from those interactions with the locals. Next, I'm going to recommend that you take a class or a club. Now, this is exceptionally advantageous to people who are staying in an area for 5 to 9 or more months. When you take a class, you're going to meet like-minded people, people who are more receptive to receiving you as a friend and showing you around the great big city that they love and they grew up in. Absolutely, if you get a chance, take a class or join a club. And there's all sorts of classes and clubs that you can participate in. Step number 6 is to do a homestay. Now, I recommend that I I stated that I did a foreign exchange program when I was in high school, and this was a great way to get into the culture and meet people. But there are many other programs out there for people who are past the high school age. Things like homestay or couch surfing or culture exchange, foreign exchange programs that you can do well into your college days and even after. So if you get a chance, do a homestay. A lot of the times with these, you live with a family. You maybe pay like a little tiny chunk of rent, but it's not bad. It's definitely not even comparable to what you would pay for a hotel. And you get a chance to stay with the locals, talk to the locals, eat local food, learn local money systems and courtesies and customs. It's a great chance if you have the opportunity. I absolutely recommend it. Number 7 is to try something new. Now, this might sound a little redundant because we're on an adventure. We're exploring the world, and yet sometimes people get to a new place and they're like, the only thing I want to do is eat a cheeseburger. And that's not why we travel. We go to Japan so we can eat sushi and takoyaki and ramen and all these great experiences. We go to Spain for all the great food that they have over there. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on it all right now. But try something new. And if you're in a place and you start to get sedentary, bring somebody else new into the mix. There have been plenty of times where I've been walking to school or walking to the office in a new place and something just caught my eye and I just had to share it with somebody. So I pull a stranger aside and just say, just for 1 second, just look at this with me. Great way to meet the locals and try something new. So tip number 8 is to use social media. Now, I'm not going to say that everybody in the world uses social media, but everybody uses social media, and it's a great way not only to stay connected with your friends and family back home, but learn about the city or the destination that you're going to. If you go to a small town in France, there's a good chance that they probably have some sort of Facebook presence, or somebody in that town does. You can like them on Facebook or follow them on Twitter, and you will begin to learn about that city or that destination. Oftentimes you'll get tips like festivals that are coming up or what the weather is doing, maybe changes in laws and policies that are happening in that town. So if you are planning on traveling overseas, absolutely figure out what type of social media they use and try to partake in that. Again, great way to learn about the city, great way to stay connected. Finally, I recommend a to-do list. Now, this is very daunting if you're running errands or you have chores to do. I personally hate to-do lists in this capacity, but when you're traveling overseas, a lot of times you don't have a ton of time, so you have to prioritize. So let's say that you go to Spain and you've got 3 or 4 days, you don't have a whole lot of time. Spain's actually a pretty big country, so you get to pick 4 things that you can do and maybe 2 things that you must do, okay? So let's say you just have to go see Plaza España or go hiking on the Teide, Mount Teide. Maybe you want to check out the Tomato Festival, which I just heard about recently and am making it a top priority next time I go to Spain. Or the running of the bulls. That's a very famous event, a very famous spectator sport if you get a chance. Make a list, prioritize, and when you get a chance to have these experiences, write it down in your journal. And absolutely, if you write it down in your journal, share it with us here on Journeying Ginger. So I hope you found some value in my video, my 9 easy steps for exploring any destination. And if you subscribe below right now, I will send you my Pointy Talkie guide for free. Now, what is Pointy Talkie? It sounds a little silly, but here's what it is. Do you remember those 6 to 10 phrases that I said you should learn before you go anywhere in the world? I have created a Pointy Talkie guide. So you pull out your Pointy Talkie guide. Let's say you're in Portugal and you find the page that says Portugal. You point to, I want water. Where's the restroom? You follow it across the page and there it is in Portuguese. You can show it to your listener and now they're able to understand and communicate with you. It's a very basic guide. Like I said, my guides actually have about 17 phrases, but right now I've got it in 21 different languages. And if you act now, you can get it for free. Again, I'm Leslie from Journeying Ginger, and I thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you on the tarmac.